We are live.
Welcome to the Unashamed Gamers Live with Ben, Adam, and Paul. Today we're going to be talking about next gen and when we think it's going to arrive, what it's going to be like.
All live.
I think it's going to be mobile phones are the futures of gaming. What?
I hope not.
Distinct possibility.
That would be the worst outcome. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah.
about Command and Conquer, obviously, at EA Play when they announced the mobile version. I think we talked about it on the E3 episode. But they've come out and said, like, EA have said, oh, well, surely mobile's just the next natural progression for Command and Conquer. This is what the fans want. What fans?
Yeah, what fans?
What Command and Conquer fans? Like, you know what this needs? I need to be able to do this on the shitter.
Yeah, well, I love gaming on the toilet. I mean, that's my jam. That's where do you think I was playing Resident Evil? I was sitting on the john.
That gives that whole series a whole new vibe.
It really does, doesn't it?
I mean, it makes us want to go back and watch it and listen for like splashes and things like
Yeah, a splashdown. Yeah, yeah. So, we'll kick off with the news, and then we'll go into next gen stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, well, hold on, we've got to get the theme tune.
News
News.
again.
Ya la la la. Just golden.
I mean, you're already the loudest man on the planet. Like that's like just for anyone listening, that's not the mic. That's just how loud Paul is.
Yeah, I don't even have a mic. I'm just
always
shouting.
He's just 4 octaves above all humans. And then you were like, news! And it was just like, my eardrums burst. A dog in fucking Canada just like looked up randomly.
That's it, yeah. That's it, yeah. So, has anyone got any news?
I don't know why that's so funny to us, but it is. It's just, news! Anyone got any news? Imagine that was the news at 10. News at 10. You got any? It's just a number at the bottom.
It's 10 o'clock. Someone got any news? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, seriously, I just do the singing and then I just jump in when someone talks. I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. That's pretty much what I do in the whole podcast. So someone talks some news because I don't have any. No, I do, but seriously. Somebody else.
Yeah, go for Adam.
I was going to say that I saw on I can't remember what website it was, but Razer and Microsoft look like they're teaming up to do like mouse and keyboard support for the Xbox.
Yeah, man, it's
Like
it's a big subject.
It is like
it's one of these subjects that's sort of highly debated on should mouse and keyboard support be on console.
Yeah.
And I think for certain games you could get away with maybe more like RTS type games coming to console if that was the case.
yeah.
But for like first person shooters and stuff, I just think it gives too much of an unfair advantage.
The thing is what they're gonna what I seem to extrapolate from it is they're gonna do it on a game by game basis. So it's up to the game maker how they implement or separate those players.
Yeah, but then you just
certain games could be like,
right?
oh well, it's just a keyboard and mouse lobby. But then you just think like that might be a really small percentage of players as well. So that means a game could die really fast to them on keyboard and mouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want it. Like and for like RTSs, that's fine. But I can just say it now. We're all playing PUBG, and there's somebody's got keyboard and mouse, and they're dominating because they've spent 20 years playing PC games. And
the problem is
cool.
a game like PUBG is a great example. Like PUBG doesn't have skill-based matchmaking, so it's not matching anyone on anything other than proximity and availability at that time. You know what I mean? So you're not. It's not going to be like, oh well, this guy's really good, so we'll put him with the best console players, and then it'll be like a level playing field. Because that's the only way you could balance. Because it can't be balanced in that sense. Because if you have a terrible person on keyboard and mouse and a class person on console, you could put those probably together and they'd play together quite fine. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like a noticeable difference, but you have to have something in place to do that. You know what I mean? You have to create some sort of skill-based matchmaking system, which has probably never been created before, which is balancing both the control pad skill versus keyboard and mouse skill. And how do you do that? Where's the overlap lie? It's very...
like we all know that mouse offers much better like precision aiming and it's quicker. And against the controller, it just doesn't belong on console. I don't think. I really don't think it does.
Yeah.
And the beauty of a console is you're not sat at a desk; you sat on your couch.
I know. I think that the only argument that I've heard is that people are already using mouse and keyboard because there's a thing called, is it a Zim, I think? And it's like you pay for that and that plugs into your console and then you can plug your keyboard into that. And then people are using that mouse and keyboard already. So they're like saying, well, we might as well just give them the support if they're doing it already. But then it's also like you're kind of giving them the push to make that transition, when some people wouldn't do that, you know what I mean? Because of the cost involved. Because I think the Zim's quite expensive, you know?
Yeah. Like, you're taking a small, very, very small percentage of players, and you're giving them, like, you're then upping that percentage of players who are doing that. Therefore,
that's the thing, because there's stuff that exists that already can make a game unbalanced, but it's the price of entry and the fact of people having to get them that separates it. Like, you get modded controllers and things like that, but they're hard to come by, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it was a case of like Xbox is like, here's our new £50 modded controller, then that's like saying, let's go free for all, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I suppose they kind of did that with the Elite controller. So
a little bit. I don't know. I've played with an Elite. Like I've never had one myself, but I've played with one, and I didn't feel like it was like a great advantage.
Yeah.
You know
it's still a controller, so your aiming is still the same. It's just those button presses you can map.
The button press is that, like you say, it's the triggers that you can make them like half the time to press the button, isn't it? Because it's like half you're pressing it only halfway down for a button to register. But I mean, that's such a minimal amount in most shooters. It's like, I think if you're already if you're a terrible player, it's not going to change your life. You know what I mean? You're not going to all of a sudden become a god. You know?
Yeah. I don't want to have a keyboard and mouse for Xbox. Like that's how I stand on it for any game, to be quite honest. It's
my favorite awful game, which I forced upon you, I think you talked about it when I wasn't here last week, was Roblox, and that actually currently has it, so console players can play against PC players.
Right.
And there's a first-person shooter game on that I quite like, and I haven't noticed any difference since they only recently changed that. It was like a month ago, 2 months ago, they added it so that PC players could play. And you can tell that the PC players are there because the game's way more populated than it was.
Right.
Like constantly, like now you can get a game at any time. It used to be like if I went on at 2 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't get a game because all the children I was killing had gone to bed.
Yeah.
That was a genuine problem with Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare. I played that more than I should have for a man in his 30s. Like, I fucking love that game. It's hilarious. But that was a game at 8 o'clock rolled around and there was nobody playing it. It was like, oh, it's bedtime.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I remember that actually.
The weirdos.
Yeah, we were like, it's so easy. We're getting loads of kills, and then come 8 o'clock, we're like, why is no one playing anymore? And then it clicked. It was like,
only people playing who are class. You're like, oh, wait a second, it's because we're playing against grown-ups.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So Roblox is constantly populated now because of that.
Because of keyboard.
I didn't notice a difference. I don't like die more than I used to or anything. You know, I'm not having a worse experience as a result of that.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a great aggregate for, like, say, what a Call of Duty would be like if there was a bunch of people using mouse and keyboard on it.
That would be a nightmare. I'd die way more than I already do, and I die all the time. So,
like I say, it could work in a game with strong skill-based matchmaking, but usually that's usually ranked modes in games that some people don't want to play. Like, casual players don't necessarily want to play a ranked game mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because if you do, you get called a dirty Hanzo.
Oh, I know, exactly. You filthy Hanzo man.
Filthy Hanzo man, and what is it? In your retarded tracer or something like that. Is that what we got? Because we played one game of ranked and we picked somebody who they didn't want us to pick. Like, you stop enjoying yourself with the character. You want this is ranked, you bitch.
This is not the mode to have fun in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sad. What I love is that every time we get hate messages, they'll message even about you, but they message me.
Yeah, I never get
me. Like, screw you and your friend. I'm like, why are you messaging me?
Yeah, it's really me. I'm just messaging you off another account.
I believe that. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, no, it does. It's genuinely true. Like, every time me and Ben play a game, they'll always message Ben. They're always like, "Oh, you're a fucking prick," and so's your mate. Like, Well, just tell me as well. I mean, how I'm lonely over here.
I think it's because for a long time my game tag had my name in it. So because it had like my first name, it just said like it was Ben of the Dead.
Yeah.
I think that made it seem like more approachable than yours because yours was like just lazy burglar or something like that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it used to be. Yeah. Now it's the gaming sausage.
Yeah, more people probably message you for the wrong reasons now, don't
Yeah, they do. Like they do. I'm 31 and I'm my gamer tags gaming sausage simply for the fact that you said you were having sausage for tea, so I misspelled the word sausage and sent it back to you.
Yep.
I'm a fucking child.
You are a child.
Oh yeah. So
news.
Not Fallout. I'm not talking about Fallout 4. Fortnite has new mode. It's like a
new mode.
I don't know the name of it. I can't be expected to know things. This is only a podcast.
Like, Fortnite is a game.
Yeah, Fortnite is a game about Fortnite.
And then Paul has left the conversation.
Yeah, it's got a new game mode where basically you can just kill each other and respawn. So it's called Playgrounds. That's what it's called, Playgrounds.
Right.
Fortnite's Playgrounds, which come on, it's like Battlegrounds. Basically, it's squads only at the minute, but you can jump in, you can play, and you die and you respawn. So it teaches you that you can learn how to build a condo instead of shooting someone back. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a training ground. So when you suck a little less, you can go back into the game. Yeah. And so
is it a permanent game or is it just another one of timed events?
I think it's another timed event. Yeah. I think it is.
I don't get that in games, timed events. Like Battlefront 2 did it where they added a mode where it was the Ewok hunt, and that looked quite fun, but I missed the event, and I'm just like, why would you put a mode in and then take it out? Like, it seemed fun, just leave it in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every other game has a bunch of game modes and they just leave them there. Fair enough if no one's playing it, but like, it's not cost you anything extra to leave it in the game when you've already made it.
Yeah, this is true. They're also saying that they want the end of the match to be different than just building up and then you can win. But right. I don't understand how they're going to change that because, let's be honest, that's what people are going to do. Yeah. Every time I've gotten into like the second spot, I'm fighting someone who's just built like a 3-story condo thing and I'm stood on the ground. So how are they going to do that unless they bring in a no-build mode, which I think they should. Now, I don't think they should take away the original mode. I mean, you've got your builders and you've got people who like to shoot. I think there should be a mode just for the people who like to shoot other people. I think it would probably... I mean, I know it's already ruining PUBG, but I think it would take some of the players who are playing PUBG and bring them back to Fortnite if there was just a no-build mode and you could just shoot people.
I think what they could do to reduce building towards the end is have the zone, like as it comes in, do damage to buildings and structures.
Yeah.
So like, you're building, then if you've built out from somewhere and then like into the zone, then you're going to lose your base like of the building because it's going to get destroyed. So your building would collapse, sort of thing. That might sort of mean you've got to think about your building.
They're talking about a cap on resources so that you can't carry as much. So you can still build at the same rate. You just obviously you'll run out sooner.
But
I think that's how they're hoping to.
Yeah,
but I agree with you. I think your point's probably more interesting. Like that's it. Like because this isn't a mechanic change. This is just a give them less resources so they can't build as much. But that doesn't mean they can't build. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
They usually build 2 floors and then they put like a ramp so they can just pop over and shoot you. So that's all they'll ever do anyway. So what you're going to do, limit the resources. Like as the game goes on, limit less and less and less. Because for me, personally, I think you're just overcomplicating the main game where you could just add a no-build mode to please those people. Like I posted a comment on Facebook earlier saying, we want a no-build mode. Sincerely, almost everyone, and I think it's got like 20 likes already. And my posts on Facebook, they get one off you, Ben, if I'm lucky. You know what I mean? So these people are
I think you
even like his posts.
Yeah. So that's it. Like
that's the thing. Adam's a realist. I'm just like, oh, I'll just be a good friend and like it. And they're like, did you see your post? I'm like, no. And you're like, you liked it? I'm like, yep.
I didn't say that shit, brother. There's a sympathy like.
No, I see your point. Like, don't get us wrong. I would love a no build mode. But I think realistically, I don't think Fortnite could do that.
Right.
I don't think it would make sense for them to do that. It would undermine what Fortnite is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a game about building forts. Like that's its selling point. What I would prefer though, I would prefer a gameplay change. So I would rather this. I've said this since day one. Actually, is I would prefer that the build time was a more realistic. Like I don't know if you had like some sort of better building animation where it like looked like you were actually building something, and while that was happening, it wasn't like you just instantly put a wall up. Maybe it took you 4 seconds to put a wall up.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So that a building could have purpose still, and you could use it as a sniping location and build certain things, but not as like if you're being shot at, you can just put a wall in front of you instantly.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I lost the fun for it. I was just like, because that's like, obviously I know it's not a realistic game at all, but I was just like, there's this game with, it's all these realistic guns, and then you've got things like bullet drop and recoil and things like that, and then you've just got like, you hold a bit of paper and a pencil, and a wall just appears in front of you. Like, even Call of Duty, you had to pretend to hammer the nails on zombies on to put some planks up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like if the building felt more like building, I'd probably be more interested and less annoyed by the building.
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, someone can make about a 4-story structure if they're good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think to be fair, I don't think Epic Games are going to cry about you guys not playing Fortnite because you don't like the building. I mean,
agreed.
It's so massive at the minute. I mean, it's the reason that we've got this video games are addictive thing going on at the minute. Like, it's not.
It's been on the news and everything. You know what I mean?
Fortnite is addictive. Like,
it's crack for kids, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Is that like I said, I would personally like it, but I'm not. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, completely, Adam. Where I know myself, and like I know that they don't look at this shit, and I just think for Fortnite, how successful they are, it would make no sense for them to make any of these changes that I'm suggesting. Like, it would make no sense for them to do that. Like, this is that cash cow, and if I was in their situation, I'd be milking it pretty much exactly how they're milking it. You know?
Yeah.
Apparently, when they launched on Android, on iOS, that first month they made $1 million. Which is like, that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like just to sum up, Epic, if you're listening, which I know you are, me and Ben want a mode with no building, so do it. There you go. That's
Adam
done.
says he doesn't care.
Adam says he doesn't care. But Ben and Paul do Epic, so do it. That's 2 out of 3.
Me and Adam have discussed this and basically said, we know nobody's listening to this, especially from Epic, and that these changes make no sense. And Paul's like, Epic, fuck you.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying Epic are listening, but we have 2 viewers right now. So one of them, I'm not saying it is, but it could be. So Epic,
your mom. The other one is not even my mom, so I don't know.
Yeah, obviously,
well, probably Epic Games. They're probably just
well, that's it.
In the office right now.
That's it.
Yeah, these 3 Jordan guys.
It's either them.
That pricks, but I like that cut of the jib.
Exactly. It's either them or it's Studio Wildcard because they know I'm about to bring up Ark again.
Oh, Christ. Oh, God. What was it in the last episode you were talking about? Like a fucking obligatory 5 minutes of Ark talk.
That's it. That's the new segment. It's just Ark, sha-la-la-la, and you just quiet down and I talk about Ark.
Obligatory Ark 5 minutes with Paul.
Yeah. So there's some Ark news. Like,
oh fucking hell! I was joking. I didn't think you were gonna do that shit.
I'm not going to be sucking on Studio Wildcard's pipe on this one. I'm going to be honest.
It's gonna be the quote of the podcast.
Yeah, it is. That's gonna be on a. That's gonna be on a T-shirt. That
I'm not gonna be sucking on Studio Wildcard's pipe for the hey, kids.
Yeah, that's it on Patreon. But no, seriously, the final DLC is coming out, and they said it was going to come out for summer, and it's like it's a Fallout vibe. But obviously, it's got dinosaurs and it's Ark. But they released the trailer. And it's not coming out until November. When they said it was coming out in a summer release, and everyone's kicking off about it. Like, I'm past Karen now because I hate Ark. Obviously, I hate Ark. I haven't played it since 6:30, and like, but like seriously, the trailer is just so lazy. It's like, see this? Well, it's like this is a dinosaur, but it looks weird.
Is it called Arc 76?
It's called Arc 76, and then underneath it's got like totally Fallout 76.
Yeah. And the player character looks like Todd Howard, but obviously he's nude.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's nude, and he's got a pixelated junk like everyone else. No, but it's coming out in November, and everyone was like, "When is it coming out?" And they were saying on Twitter, "Oh, well, it's coming out in summer." And now, obviously, the Arc Studio Wildcard being what they are, they've delayed it again, which is ridiculous. Yeah.
That just sounds like you're not sucking on that pipe.
Yeah, that's it. I am not sucking on Studio Wildcard's pipe. If you want that T-shirt, just sign up for the Patreon. It'll be there. There'll just be a picture of
an image of your mom sitting at home listening to the podcast wearing that T-shirt.
She is. That's why I brought it up. She's
Alone
like, mention the T-shirt, Paul. T-shirt, Paul. Mention the T-shirt.
She's just sat wearing it alone in a room right now, and she's just like, "Oh God, I wish I'd never had him."
This is true. I bet I message her and tell her to stop knitting those T-shirts now.
I love a knitted T-shirt.
Yeah, everyone loves a knitted T-shirt in this weather. But yeah, there's my Arc 5 minutes. Arc 5 minutes. Shut up.
I love how it's different every time.
Yeah, it is.
Somehow worse every time.
Yeah, wait. So you told me it's better every week.
Do you have any actual more news? Real news, anyone? Or do you want to move on to the subject at hand?
We've got the games with gold and PlayStation Plus.
What's coming to PlayStation Plus? I didn't read that. I saw games with gold. Heavy
Rain.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the other one was.
I never played Heavy Rain.
Absolver.
Is Heavy Rain? Is Heavy Rain the one where he goes, Jason, for like 20 whole minutes? Jason. Like, worst parent ever. He's like, he loses his son. I don't know if you know, Ben, but the guy loses his son and he just monotonely shouts, Jason, for 20 whole minutes. That's the mission. Jason.
That's the whole game. Press X to shout Jason.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, God, I wish I could build a fort right now.
Yeah. On Arc? No.
Oh, God.
Someone called Hate Love has just typed Jason in the chat. Thank you for that. Thanks for joining the podcast, Hate Love.
Thanks for the listen. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. Paul will read them out. We might answer them if they're not too awkward.
Yeah, I've put have a game related question, ask away. But if you want to talk about Arc for 20 minutes, I'm your guy.
If you have any questions that aren't to do with Arc, moving on. So we're going to talk about next gen and what we think's it's gonna be, or what it's gonna be like, or what we'd like to see.
Yes.
So, anyone want to kick off, or should I go?
I'm going to kick off because
go for it.
Yeah.
Do you want an Arc Box 360, don't you?
Oh, that's you're stealing me jokes, man.
It's because I can read you like a crappy book you find on the shores of Arc.
Hate Love's got a question. What do you guys think of the Shadow of the Colossus remaster? I think it looks fucking beautiful. Thanks for the question, Hate Love. I agree.
I've ended it, I've answered it. No, I think it looks beautiful, but I refuse to pay for that game again. I bought it remastered on PS3.
Yeah.
So it's like I played it on PS2, I played it on PS3. It looks amazing, and like it doesn't actually look like a lazy remaster. Like they've actually completely from the grounds up reworked this game, and it does look incredible. But I've played it too many times already.
Is it from the ground up? Like they've rebuilt the whole game?
I think so. From what I could see, like every texture has been replaced with a higher resolution, better looking texture. Sometimes an entirely different. Like artists had to redraw that individual item. It's like really good, but like it's just like, if you've played that game, the game's still the game. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like don't get us wrong. If it was Resident Evil 2, Paul would buy it.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of Resident Evil, when I was playing Resident Evil 4 on my live stream, somebody asked us to play Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
So I might I've never played it before. Like I'm being honest, I've never.
Yeah, that's what you should do. You should play it.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to buy it. I can just watch you play it. And because you'll not played it before, you'll be really bad at it, and it'll bring me joy.
Well, this is true. Yeah. Hate Love says he thinks so. He thinks it's from the ground up because they have a whole new credit section for the people who worked on the remaster. That's cool. Hate Love dropping knowledge. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Fair one.
So back to next gen consoles. I think personally, it's going to be. Do you know how they were talking about the streaming service kind of thing, where you can play any game anywhere? I think that's what we're going to get from, say, 2020. I think that's what we're going to get. I don't know if it's going to be like an Xbox box kind of thing or a PlayStation 5 or what have you. I think it's just going to be, oh, you want this game? Well, you can stream it here. You can stream it from here. If that makes sense.
I think the whole streaming service is it's a really good idea, but I don't think it's there yet. Like, there's GeForce now and PlayStation now, and I just think, like, obviously we're in the UK. In the UK, like, I would say there's probably 60% coverage for fiber. Probably not even that much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The rest probably just have regular broadband, which I think is capped at like 24 meg. So it's like
peasants,
and that's capped at 24 meg. So that doesn't mean you get 24. So there's a huge percentage of this country who's getting like 1 meg or 2 meg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the countrywide average, I think's 8 to 16, something like that. So like, I don't think it's there for a service like that, because you've got to think about if you were streaming the game. So that's some internet. Then if you're playing that game online, there's some extra internet.
Yeah.
and then if you're talking to your pals in a party, there's some more bandwidth needed. And then, like, you know what I mean? What if someone else in your house is trying to do the same thing? You know what I mean? I don't think the majority of houses are there yet.
In all fairness, if you're streaming the game and playing it online, that's just one bit of internet. Because you're streaming the online, like, from the server.
That's fair enough. I mean, I will concede that 100%, my friend. But I would still say that the majority of homes aren't ready for it.
Oh yeah,
not
ready for it.
Yeah, not for mass appeal. I mean, when you think about like how many millions of Xbox Ones have been sold and how many PlayStation 4s have been sold, I would say the majority of those don't have great internet. They'll have enough to play online, you know what I mean? But then they won't necessarily have enough to stream the game.
Adam Reed's just sent a message saying my family watch Love Island non-stop. That takes all the bandwidth. all we can do is
emotional bandwidth.
All we can do is apologise, Adam. That's so
at what age can you divorce your family?
That's horrible, man. He's trying to give
him a message. I'd send them a message right now going, I'd love if all of yous were on an island.
Yeah, nightmare. Adam Reed says nightmare. Thanks for watching, Adam. I hope you'll leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. That would be cool. Appreciate you taking the time to
likes. I love it.
Come on, we want to get 100,000 subscribers, don't we? We want that little plaque, don't we? So you've got to do it. Back to
if we would ever get that in this fabled situation where we get the plaque, do we have to split it 3 ways?
Oh no, it's coming to my house. It's coming to my house. It's going to sit next to it's going to sit next to my orc teddies and my orc saddles that I've got in real life because I'm a child.
Now I'm picturing your girlfriend with a saddle on her back.
What we do at the weekend has got nothing to do with this podcast. No, but
it is to do with your website. What?
Yes. So anyway, I don't want a new console yet. I've just got the Xbox One X. I don't want a new console. Like, stop releasing consoles.
I think that's a valid concern. But I think that analyst Michael Pachter was for saying it was going to be like 2020, 2021. He reckons are going to come.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about like console cycles. Before 360, a console cycle was what, 4 years? Every 4 years, a new set of consoles came out. Then the 360 came on and changed the games. Like 360 like PS3, it was 8 years from launch till a new console, but still relevant for 10 years. So I mean, you've got to think about like if you started playing 360 at 10 years old, you're an adult by the time like the next set of consoles come out. You know what I mean? That's a long time where like there's a whole generation who are like, well, no, your console lasts forever, and you're like, well, not really. You know what I mean? But I think technology's hit a point recently where the old consoles are showing their age a lot sooner than they have previously. Like 360 didn't really show its age for quite a long time. You know what I mean? Whereas I think Xbox One is showing its age.
Yeah, there was no real leaps in technology from like during the 360. I mean, there was there was advances, but not like groundbreaking, huge advances.
I never felt like Xbox One was such a huge advance. Anyway, I was so hyped for it. Like I'm sure I've said this like analogy before, where when I first saw about the Xbox One coming out, GTA 5 was on 360, and then obviously it was coming to One, and I'm like, oh, it'll be amazing. They've redone it. It's going to look so much better. It's going to run faster. I bet you the load time's like amazing, and the load time was still shit. And I'm like, oh, I was like, I bet you it switches between Franklin, Trevor, and Michael straight away. I bet you it's instant, and it just wasn't. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
Yeah.
like I thought this was like a huge generational leap, and it was kind of like a slight leap.
Yeah,
Well-
I think there's a huge like maybe because we're a bit older, we're a bit more numb to it.
Yeah.
You look back at like games on the PlayStation 1, for instance,
Yeah.
and when I first saw those when I was a kid, that was amazing.
Yeah, it's like oh my god.
That leap was huge. And then the leap from like PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 was big.
Yeah.
But when you think back at it, it wasn't that big. And then the leap from like PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, Xbox 360.
Yeah. I felt like the
Again-
leap between PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 was big. That felt big to me. I don't know.
I think that one was a bit bigger, but then I just feel like looking back, I don't see PlayStation 1 graphics as bad as they were in my head.
Yeah.
Like,
The 4K.
Yeah.
to me, it's like, oh, they were like 4K.
You look back with rose-tinted HD glasses, don't you? You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, it looks amazing. Like when I think of Shadow of the Colossus first time out, it looked amazing. So when I'm saying it amazing, now I'm like, that's what it always looked like. And you're like, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the same. Like when Resident Evil 2 remaster trailer came out, I was like, that's what the game looked like in my head when I first played it. And then obviously you go back and watch the original trailer for Resident Evil 2 and it just looks absolutely terrible. It's like they've got triangle fingers and triangle heads. But in your brain, it looks 4K or 8K or whatever it is now. Like my problem with, like... that's the thing. What can they do that's new on a new console? Like the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro, they are
the thing with the
4K.
One X. The thing with the One X, I think, is that like the One X does feel like the leap now. For me personally, like, I would say that's like a leap from going from an Xbox 360 to One X. That feels like a huge leap. But the One X is held back by the original Xbox One users. So they can't really make a game that has this kind of huge jump between the two, because otherwise, why would you, like the majority of the install base are Xbox One or One S players? Because obviously that's what most people buy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend's playing on my S, you know what I mean? So like she's still buying games on that today, so she just like Adam, you're still playing on the original one, Xbox One, aren't you? So like you still deserve the exact same fun experience that I'm getting because we're both paying 60 quid for the same game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So yeah, mine will look a bit better, but it's not going to look like as good as it possibly could look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In every situation, because obviously that's down to the developers, and the developers are held back by certain games, and they're held back not just in a sense of like, oh, the One X is some godsend, because it's not.
No,
but it's the same way like even PCs are a bit held back. You know what I mean? Because PCs are such a leap above now. Like, but most people, it makes sense to make a game for console because there's such a high install base. You kind of have to, you start at a lower level, you know what I mean? Whereas it's stuff we haven't thought of, like in terms of like the games could be so much bigger, you know what I mean? Like what we consider a big game could be considered small in the next generation, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like your open world maps are getting bigger and bigger, and they're getting bigger and more detailed, you know what I mean? So
My issue is though, like the Xbox One X came out last year sometime, right? Was it October? Is that right? Or am I wrong?
year.
Yeah, it was last year sometime. And like people are running out to buy that. People are still buying it now. And then in 2 years' time, they're going to say, oh, well, that's obsolete because we're not releasing any more games for that because we've got this one, the Xbox Scorpio 2 or whatever it's called.
The Scorpio 2. That I wish they'd called this one Scorpio first time around, if I'm being honest. I think it's a better name than the One X. But I don't think that's what'll happen.
No,
I don't think it makes something obsolete, because you've got to think of all the previous years of Xbox games. Those still exist. So if you were to buy One X, you've still got a lot of games to play. Like more than any one person probably needs.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in like the new generation of stuff. Like it's weird because I kind of want a One X, but I feel like if I want a One X, I want a TV to go with it, like a 4K TV with HDR. But then I'm like, well, I can't afford both. Like, I'm not made of money. So my theory is, I might buy a new TV, and then I'm just going to wait. Because if it's 2020, the new console comes out.
You've got time to build up for it. Yeah, like, that's the thing you've got to think as well, is of like say a One X player. They've said it themselves, like it's a premium console. You know what I mean? So that didn't expect the majority of people to buy. He said, Phil Spencer said, like, we will sell way more 1S's. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just like we'll sell way more PS4 Slims. You know what I mean? Then we'll sell the Pro because that's for someone who wants that something extra. You know what I mean? But all you're getting is a graphical boost and in some games a frame rate boost and sometimes an improved loading time. You know what I mean? It's not. You're still playing the same game. You still essentially have the same experience. You know what I mean?
I would disagree.
There's games that you would disagree, really?
No, I would disagree when it comes to PUBG. I was going to say I rudely
right.
Because when we drop in and Adam's got to wait 20 minutes before the buildings load in, or he gets stuck in a truck.
You know, I would agree with it in that sense, but I'd also be like, that was still not a leap. That's like a game that has not been optimized even for the 1X. Like, it just, there's people who'll defend it and go, it runs class on my 1X. And I'm like, well, show me videos. I'm like, show me videos of it running good, because every video I've ever seen of it on the 1X, and having played a lot of days on it myself, that game drops under 30 frames a second every gunfight you get into.
There is games that do run well on the 1X. I mean, one in particular, like that I play a lot, with dinosaurs and building in it. That runs.
Never heard
it's
of it.
Back. 5 more minutes.
Yeah. Talking about Jurassic World Evolution. Yeah, that game with dinosaurs. The only game with dinosaurs. What?
Like that can run at 60 frames per second, and you can actually tell like you can see the whole island, and it doesn't like load in a little bit by a little bit on the 1X. So
a beautiful moment where you're just looking at it at 60 frames per second, and then it just pops up on screen. You defecated.
And in game. That's not right.
You were like in unison.
Same time, twin. Yeah. But seriously, let's not talk about Ark anymore. Come on, Ben. Move on.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, the streaming service though, I do think that should become more prevalent as years goes on, because I think even with a new batch of console that could still launch those things, you know what I mean? PlayStation Now can exist on a new console, and like obviously there's the PC one, GeForce Now, and like Xbox, I'm sure could release their own streaming service, and that could exist for people who have the capability to stream that. You know what I mean? Because games are becoming more digital. I mean, last year alone, they sold more digital games than hard copies. You know what I mean? Like brick and mortar stores are really struggling more than ever.
Because who wants to go outside to get a game anymore? Like, I don't want to.
I mean, the great thing is the game sharing. Like, obviously, me and Paul, we game share, and it's like sometimes you might pay £10 more, but basically we're getting 2 copies of the game for an extra £10 on top of the price of the game I'd buy in store. Why wouldn't I pay that extra £10 every time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. It's also the fact that, like, even when you went and bought a disc, you have to install it and download the update. And you couldn't just put the disc in and play the game straight away. Some games, like, there's 1 or 2 games where I had to wait like 3 hours or something for it to install and download an update.
I still have that. I mean, I think I've got better internet than you, but mine's not much better. And like, there's the amount of time you get a game, and I'm like, well, I'll play that tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll go to bed and I'll play that tomorrow.
Xbox actually doing something about that. Sorry, I'll let you finish, Adam.
I was just gonna say, but then you kind of, because you're downloading it digitally, you expect that, so you sort of buy it with the knowledge that you're going to be able
especially now that they've got pre-downloads for a certain game. If it's coming out, you can download it on the Wednesday if you've pre-ordered it, and then it's ready for you to play on the Friday, which I think is quite a good feature.
Yeah. With Xbox's new update, because obviously I'm a Sado who like replies to all their features and rates it and stuff. What they're doing now is
on the Insider program,
on the Xbox Insider program. Yes, I should have said that. What they're doing now is that it's only a few games they've limited it to, but they're actually doing it so you can play it while they're installing now. And it's not like you know how it says ready to start. It's not that. As soon as the game loads up, you can play it. There's only 4 games on it now, but obviously I'm assuming if it goes well, that's going to be like the new big feature for Xbox. So we'll be able to, hopefully, like by the time Red Dead Redemption comes out, we'll be able to actually play that while it's installing.
Yeah, that's
so good feature.
Yeah,
I don't understand how it works.
Yeah, I don't. Say that again.
Like, how limited are you on that then? So, like, if you were to start playing like Red Dead Redemption 2, for instance, right? And you start downloading it and playing it, like, but where does it get to the point where it's like, Oh, you
That's
can't play
enough.
anymore because we still need to download.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's just been added, and the 4 games or 5 games that they've got, I don't have.
What are the
I haven't been
games?
able to check. I honestly can't remember. I'd have to look them up again. But I'm sure one of them's an Xbox 360 game. And
Yeah.
they're all like indie games, nothing like
Right.
massive.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that testing the water with these games to see.
I mean, it's literally a fact that games download faster on Xbox than PlayStation.
Yeah,
Because there's like a limit on the PlayStation for like how fast a game can download. So it doesn't affect most people who have slow internet anyway, because your speed isn't going to hit that limit. But like people who have got like a gig internet or like 300 meg and stuff like that, they'll be like capped at like 100.
yeah,
Where that cap doesn't exist on Xbox. So if you've got a really fast speed, you actually get a better experience on Xbox for downloading games, apparently. But
right.
I mean, when you've already got a speed that fast anyway, it's going to download. It'll be, if you've got 100 meg internet, the game's going to be ready to play within 20 minutes anyway.
Yeah,
For most games, except Ark. What?
Yeah. Stop mentioning Ark, Ben. We get it. No,
So, I mean, the thing what I think Xbox is done really well this generation is the backwards compatibility, and I think obviously they'll keep that going forward. So I think every Xbox One game will play on whatever the new console is.
I hope that's true. I
I
mean,
think there'll be an incentive to upgrade there, definitely.
I'm
What I
personally
would
not
like to
ready.
see is some sort of trade-in for your One X, though. If they're releasing something as soon as 2020, I wouldn't mind them being like, well, if you've got a One X, you get like 100 quid off the console or something. You know what I mean? To trade it in.
I mean, personally, I'm not ready for a new console because like I said, I've just gotten this one, and I think there's a lot more could be done. But I understand why they want to, because, like, obviously, I don't, I'm not like an Xbox lover or a PlayStation lover. I play both because I've got both because I'm rich. Yeah, but no, seriously. No, I'm not. It's because
Really not.
I'm really not on poor, but like. I think Xbox want to do this so they can actually beat PlayStation, if that makes sense. Because they were both like, oh well, we need to rush our consoles out, and like so many changes were made to the
I think
Xbox.
what they need to do this time, because they fucked up so last time, you know what I mean? Obviously, Xbox One had a notoriously terrible announcement with all these features that they reneged on. Like it has to always be on, and there's going to be no discs and blah blah. You know what I mean? Like, and they went back on net pretty much everything. I mean, even a year later, it was only like a year later or less than a year later, they stopped bundling the Kinect in with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they need to let PlayStation announce first to get an idea of what they're up against and then amend as a result of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, yeah. So what are your thoughts then, Adam? Is Adam there?
Nothing but crippling silence.
Yeah, I think we might have lost Adam.
Adam has a weird thing the way his internet like drops out at like 8 o'clock, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
Is it that maybe?
I'm assuming it is. I'll send obviously another link to the stream, but let's just keep talking and pretend that he's still here.
Quickly, do Adam's voice.
Yes. Well, I like Orc just as much as Paul.
At least you made it really unbelievable.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Say something Adam would never say.
I love Ark. It's the best of all the dinosaur simulators that one has ever encountered. This includes Turok.
Right, I've sent it to him, but this is ridiculous. Yeah, every other day at around 8:05, his internet just disappears, and we don't even know why. He's just like.
It's because the man, the myth, the legend that is Adam, who has returned, is too lazy to call his fucking supplier and get his problem fixed.
Welcome back, Adam. I was like, so what do you think,
Later
Adam?
than normal today.
It was, yeah. I was like, so what do you think, Adam? And then there was like a minute of dead air, and I was like, well, he's gone then.
Silky transition.
Yeah. Welcome
So
back.
now that you're back, Adam, so what do you think's going to be next for next gen?
I honestly don't know. I just think that you're going to get more new consoles.
Do you think? I
graphical
think we're
updates.
definitely going to get new consoles. I don't think it's going to be a case of like, here's a Fire Stick and you just stream everything. You know what I mean?
No, I think you're going to have. I think it'll probably have built into it like connectivity to stream to other devices.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a big thing that seems to be getting talked about a lot at the minute. Obviously, Steam, you can do it with the Steam Link, like you can
Yeah.
stream the games to like
Steam
your TV
TV
or
and
your
stuff like that,
phone
yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I think that a lot of what was coming out of E3 was very much, oh, you should be able to play any game on any device. And
Yeah.
I think Phil Spencer was talking about that on Giant Bomb at Night thing,
Yeah.
where he was basically saying like people should be able to access their games on any device at any time. So I think a lot of stuff like that is going to be built into consoles. You're going to have the ability to stream from your console to your phone.
I mean, that's kind of my problem with the Switch, is that the Switch isn't playing the games that I want to play on it. Like, you kind of play a lot of the games I want to play, because a lot of the games are, not all of them, but a lot of the games are aimed at children or people looking for that Nintendo nostalgia boost from their childhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, obviously, I want to play a lot of shooters because that's just what I enjoy. And I would love a handheld that I could take that could play my Xbox games and just stream them perfectly. Because I really love the control system of the Switch, because obviously you've got your 2 analog sticks and you've got your triggers and everything. You know what I mean? Because that's where I kind of get into mobile gaming. My cousin has like the Razer phone, which is like one of the most powerful gaming mobiles or whatever. So he plays World of Tanks on it, among other games, and it looks really good. It's like a really good version. You know what I mean? Like it runs really well. But it's just the controls are just terrible because it's touchscreen. You know what I mean? I just don't like touchscreen controls. I like the tactile response of a trigger or an analog stick. You know what I mean? I would love to see something like that next gen.
If they do stuff like that next gen, they'll release like, oh, here's a controller you can like plug your phone into.
Yeah.
And then you can like have it. It's just your screen on the phone, so you can turn your phone into a handheld console, basically.
That'd be cool.
I think that's likely to be what they try and push.
What he did say, Phil Spencer said in one of his interviews, was that he wants to do better frame rate. He's like basically saying, you know, games should be 60 frames as standard. Like, we want to make that a thing for what console. For me, I don't know why 60's held us this standard. I think we should be pushing for more than 60. There's a lot of games that already could be more than 60, but they just go for, oh, we've got this 60 frame cap. This is what people...
The problem is, once you go over 60, it's hard. It actually becomes a little bit harder to determine. Like,
well, that's actually a myth. If you actually look into the fact of it, the human eye can perceive up to 1,000 frames per second. There's just a huge myth that's been perpetuated by console fanboys who literally say, no, 60 frames per second, you can barely perceive anything. You can literally perceive the nuance between 60, 70. You can, obviously, much bigger ones where it's like 100, 144. 144 has become the new standard for monitors on PC gaming, I think.
144 hertz monitors.
Yeah, like it's noticeable, and it's definitely. I think it's definitely something we should be pushing for more than 60. Like a game like Call of Duty, which, let's be honest, the past 4 or 5 iterations have been essentially map packs with, you know, changes to class types and weapons. You know what I mean? That's always had a locked 60 frames per second. They could be doing 80 at least, easily.
Yeah,
it's such an old engine. You know what I mean? It runs, and like I say, I had a mid-range gaming laptop for a little while, and I played some Modern Warfare 3, and I think I was getting like 110. So I'm like, well, a mid-range is actually probably less powerful than a 1X. So you're telling me a 1X couldn't run that at 80? No way.
Yeah.
But the cap limit, it's like these artificial caps in place, you know what I mean?
I wonder if it might be something to do with like controller inputs and stuff, though, like on console. On PC, obviously, it's a lot, like the input's a lot quicker with a mouse.
Yeah.
Whereas with a controller, there's obviously,
I wonder if there's actually a limit between the console, because obviously your controller's connected via Bluetooth. You know what I mean? So I wonder if that has a limit on what there'd actually be, like the millisecond gap between latencies.
Yeah,
that's something I'd have to look into, and I probably will, because I'm sad about that.
Yeah, like at what point does it get from like, oh, you can actually, if you go up to 80 frames, or you can actually tell there's a delay in the controller.
Yeah. Like that's a problem apparently with 4K TVs. You need to like research your 4K TVs, because they can have an actual latency between your console being plugged in. It can even be dependent on like the HDMI cable, which is crazy. You know what I mean? So if you think of just the casual consumer who's going to be, you know, the next generation probably are going to be, that's going to be the thing. They're going to be like, both consoles are guaranteed 4K. You've got to think of like the average person just plugging in any TV and it working, you know what I mean? And it being able to adjust to whatever that latency is, you know?
Yeah, so I wonder if that's maybe why 60 is sort of a good limit for TVs in general.
I still
So I
want
know
more.
that obviously,
I want more.
but then like
All of it. I want it all.
obviously,
Give me all the frames.
I wonder what the refresh rate on like 4K TVs is.
I think that's dependent on which one you get. I think it's like a monitor where you choose what your refresh rate is, depending on price.
Yeah,
But I bet you the average is probably 60 though,
yeah,
because it's like an industry standard. You know what I mean?
yeah. Who knows? It's something
But
I'm not an expert on TVs or
yeah, I think the next
so.
set of consoles are going to be not a leap above the One X. But the thing you're going to think of is that the majority of people will buy them. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah,
will have this really capable console in their home, which will push forward gaming.
yeah.
Yay.
Which I'm interested in. I mean, do you think VR is going to be big for next
Oh,
gen?
no. It's not big now. And I mean, like, they've got Resident Evil 7, which was like a big push for PlayStation. Like, you can play the whole game and it looks brilliant. And it did. But, like, people just didn't care. It's like 3D. Like,
Yeah.
that had a big comeback. And everyone was like, yeah,
I'm
3D.
not sold on 3D.
Yeah, so if you're still not sold on 3D and it's been like what 30 years, 40 years, well, I think virtual reality it's going to take a lot longer to get a lot better before people are really interested.
When they announced the Scorpio about the Xbox One X, he was saying like we're making this 4K VR ready console, and then like a few months later they scrapped the whole idea of VR. Like, yeah, we're not going to push forward with that.
Yeah,
Push forward.
Yeah.
So that makes us think have to kept it to one side because they want to launch. God forbid they do a Kinect again and be like every Xbox One 2 comes with a VR headset.
I think
oh,
you see.
God.
I don't think that. I think that would be a way to get VR into people's hands because the problem
I'd
is
agree.
the price point. It's like
But yeah,
even
price
like
point.
PlayStation VR is what £200, something like that.
I know, even on sale, it's like the price of a console.
Yeah, it's too high a price point for like to be in.
For me as well, it's too
Everyday
high a price
user's
point
hands.
for what it is right now. So like, you're paying this amount of money, but then the games actually are like not even 360 quality a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because I understand there's a lot more that goes into it. Because obviously to be able to have a 360 of this whole area and environment and be able to interact with it on every level is a much more taxing challenge. You know what I mean? I totally understand that side of it and why it's like this.
You're rendering it twice.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've got the two screens rendering it, and then so I mean I understand that literally, but it's that whole thing of like if I'm paying £300 and it just looks like a GameCube game, like I'm not really interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of like I'll hold off until it looks class.
Yeah, I think if they sort of packed in VR headsets with the next gen consoles, then yeah, why not?
I think
Like-
if they do the smart thing and they pack it in and it's not like added an extra £100 onto the console like the Kinect did, then maybe it could work.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of caveats to packing it in with the console.
But I don't know if you heard it because you cut off when we were talking about it, but like I think the smart thing for Xbox to do would be to let PlayStation announce what they're doing next first, and then them get an idea and get a lay of the land of what they're going up against, and then announce their console. Because I think that also really helped for PlayStation. It's dead easy for PlayStation to come out and be like, "Hey, all the stuff Xbox said they're doing, we're doing none of that. We're just a good console for gamers. We're for the gamers." And like, they had those hilarious videos where it was like how to lend a game to a friend, and he just like hands the game to his friend. Like that was such a win for them. You know what I mean? It was like, but it was like shooting fish in a barrel. It was an easy win.
Yeah, it's a shame because obviously Microsoft sort of backpedaled on a lot of that stuff.
A lot.
And like now, stuff like Game Pass, game sharing, that sort of thing. It's
hilarious because the backpedaled on stuff that is considered standard today. Like the big thing that turned off so many people was like is always on, and then now we live in a world pretty much where your console is always connected to the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like downloading stuff in the background. Like most people have updates downloading when they're in bed. You know what I mean? Like it is always on.
Yeah.
We've got another message from Exacto. What's up, Epic Gamers? This is one of the people who's been following us on me Road to Resident Evil 2.
Oh God, I'm glad you said that. I was getting
This is the guy who's been following us around.
The guy in my garden. He's got a question. He wants to know if you'll make him a cup of tea.
Yeah, he's been watching all of my streams, so I just want to shout out to Exacto. badass. It's badass that you're here. Thank you very much for coming. Hope you leave a like. Oh, and there's another one, Brendan 315. He's also from the Resident Evil stream. He's turned up as well. Hello, Brendan. Nice to have you here.
It's like Paul's like a mini celebrity, like doing like virtual waves.
I was actually
Hello, Noob Slayer 360. Good to see you again, old chum.
Yeah, I actually waved when I said hi as well.
I believe
They can't see that, but I did it anyway. So you're welcome. Because I'm a celebrity now, because I got an extra 3 likes on a video.
Do you
Thanks, Exacto.
think for next gen that they would change the controllers? Do you think, like, because the controllers seem to be, they've kind of hit a point where I think they're like pretty much as good as it's gonna get.
Oh, there'll be changes. There'll be optimizations they make to them. Like,
unless they're more like elite controllers.
Yeah,
PlayStation need to sort their triggers out. Don't get us wrong, the PlayStation 4 triggers are the best triggers they've had, but they're just still not there for me right now. Like, shooters just don't feel as good on PlayStation because of the triggers, to me personally.
Speaking of PlayStation, isn't their new controller just the Xbox One controller? Like they've
got an Elite one,
Elite, yeah. Isn't that just the Xbox? One. And I remember PlayStation, like, there was this meme going around that the PlayStation controller was like the thumbsticks were 2 eyes and they were like right in the center. And then the Xbox, it had a picture of Chunk from the Goonies. And it was like, those were the eyes of the Xbox controller.
Sloth from the Goonies.
Yeah, Sloth. Yeah, not Chunk. What am I talking about? Yeah. So, yeah, like, I thought to myself, well, they're taking the mick out of it, but now they're just copying it. Like,
yeah. Well, hilariously, it's made by the same company. The company that Xbox hired to make their official Pro controllers are making third-party but officially endorsed controllers for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So it is literally, it's the Elite controller, but for a PlayStation.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that everyone should have choice in what style of controller they want to use.
Yeah.
They've got every controller now has basically the same button layout.
Yeah.
Like, you've got your left bumper, your right bumper, your 2 triggers, your face buttons, your D-pad, your 2 analog sticks,
and the little penis that hangs down the middle.
What controller am I describing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one with the penis, I'm not sure. I think that's just an original for Ben.
I think I've seen that in an episode of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What do you call it? The Switch one? The Switch, their Pro controller was just an Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it last gen, but this gen they've got one where it's like the battery life is like 20 hours or something like that on the Switch Pro controller. It's like rechargeable battery, but lasts 20 hours. But I don't know how they did it last gen, but on the Wii U, their Pro controller, which once again was just an Xbox 360 controller, that battery life was 80 hours. Rechargeable. Wow. So there's people who would be like, "Oh yeah, I got it, and I've never charged it the whole time that I used my Wii U. Like the whole time I had it before I got rid of it. Like a year later, and it never died." You're like, "What?"
Yeah. Exacto says, "I hate how Xbox controllers look like and how it feels in your hand because I'm an original PlayStation player and I played Xbox for the first time and I suck balls."
I mean, I would characterize myself as a PlayStation player. You know, like my formative years were played on PlayStation 1 and 2.
Yeah, same.
But I think the PS4 is the best PlayStation controller. I just still think there's work to be done there because I think the Xbox controller I don't know, the offset analog sticks in particular as well. I think that's a stroke of genius. Like it just feels so much better for me. Like I don't feel like I'm hindered by the PlayStation 4. Like when I'm playing, I don't feel like, oh, this controller's let us down and hasn't done any of the actions I wanted to do. It just it's like I don't know. It's like if you go and sit in a really nice car and then you go back to your piece of shit car, you're like, oh, this car's shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even though it was getting you from A to B, no bother for years prior.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, do you want to talk a little bit about the games we're currently playing?
Yeah, let's do it.
So,
let's go.
Shall I do the theme tune?
If you say fucking Ark.
I'm not playing Ark. What's Ark? No, I'm not playing Ark. As Brendan and Exacto know, I'm playing Resident Evil 4. Well, I've just finished Resident Evil 4, but I'm going to go back and play it again. But I'm going to do a knife-only challenge, see how far I get in the game. But also, I've been playing Ark. But no, seriously, like I've been streaming Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, on the road to Resident Evil 2.
on my road
so
to Resident Evil
hyped
2.
for
Yeah,
Resident Evil 2 remake, yeah.
yeah. Like I'm so hyped for Resident Evil 2 that I'm literally I bought Resident Evil 5. I'm going to get Resident Evil 7 again, and I'm just going to keep streaming the games until I'm sick to death of playing them, and then.
But that'll never happen because you
That'll
never
never
tire
happen.
of those
Yeah.
games. You love them. So.
Yeah, Exacto saying rage quit stream on Resident Evil. That's probably what it's going to be when I'm doing the night only challenge. But I'm going to give that a go. I'm going to finish the Ada campaign first because I've got that to do, and then I'm going to do a knife only challenge on Resident Evil 4. And also,
I'm actually looking forward to the knife only challenge being like a 10-minute episode. Like, it's bullshit.
This is fucking bullshit. I'm not doing this.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah. But also, I'll be playing Resident Evil 5 as well. And you're going to play that as well, aren't you, Ben? Eventually, down the line.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably from August.
Yeah, from August, yeah. Exacto says he promised himself to play all Resident Evil games. It's a life goal. It's my life goal too, because of every single game I've played, and I'll
Well, I agree with what someone said in your stream the other day. You need to play Dead Aim.
Dead Aim.
In fact, I'm going to take it one further and name the worst Resident Evil game that you should definitely play.
Oh, no.
And it's, what's it called? Is it Umbrella Corps?
Umbrella
Corps.
Yeah.
Umbrella Corps.
No.
Umbrella Corps, where it's like a first-person shooter and
Yeah.
it's fucking
I'm-
potato as fuck.
I'm being called out for my lack of dodging skills as well, and the want to see is cry at Resident Evil. So that's what's going on in the chat right now. Thanks for that. Thanks for the support. What is up on? I cannot dodge to save my life in that game. Like
You can't aim and shoot either. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it's all coming on.
It's kicking off now. No, like when Adam watched the stream the other day, he was like, "Why do you keep shooting fools in the dick?" And I was like, "That's what I'm doing." He was like, "I'm just asking."
Paul calls that a headshot.
Yeah, it is.
It's just a really small headshot.
Umbrella Corps is bad. That's not
It's
even a
the
Resident Evil.
worst.
I
It's
agree.
the worst ever, and therefore
Yeah.
you have to complete a knife only.
Oh God, no.
It's a multiplayer game. I'm pretty sure you kind of got.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's got single players. I don't know. I played it once.
There's some
and it was
poor Resident Evil games out there. Like
there is some stinkers. Like
The only good thing about that game is it actually tells you that Wesker is still alive, because obviously, spoiler alert, he dies in the 5th one.
yeah,
But it's like in this one, it's like, oh, he's going to be mad, blah blah blah, meaning he's still alive because Umbrella Corps takes place after 6. So
yeah.
yeah. So what are you playing at the minute?
Do you want
Resident Evil 1
Nice.
nice.
remaster, HD remake, whatever it is. The one
Are you
that's released
playing-
on Xbox One?
Are you playing Chris or Jill?
I am playing Jill at the moment.
Yeah, the best one.
Yeah, I've literally just started really.
Yeah.
Guys, I haven't played it in a long time, so I had to.
Is it because Paul was playing Resident Evil 4 that you were like, I want to play some Resident Evil?
Basically, and
I
because
thought so. I
the
thought
Resident
that
Evil
was
2
right.
remakes come in, and Resident Evil 1 is my favorite, except for maybe 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, like I've said in the stream, like Resident Evil 2 is my favorite because it was my first entry into Resident Evil. I'd seen other people play Resident Evil 1, but I actually got my hands on the demo for Resident Evil 2, and I just loved it. So that's why it's my favorite. Not because I think it's a better game, just because I actually played it before I played 1. So,
Yeah.
you know, like where you've seen a film or you've seen the sequel before you've seen like the original, you're like, well, that's the best. Like I watched Ghostbusters 2 before Ghostbusters 1, and I love Ghostbusters 2. Even though it's trash,
Yeah.
that's my favorite because I saw it first. So it's only my
I
favorite.
like that with
because I played
Home
it
Alone. I
first.
love Home Alone 2 versus Home Alone 1. Everyone's like, Home Alone 1. I'm like, no, Home Alone 2, man. He's in New York.
Yeah,
The stakes are higher.
they're exactly the
I think
same.
I need to unfriend you, Ben.
What? Say that again?
I think I need to unfriend you and disown you.
Oh, shit. We were friends. This is awkward.
Friends? Yeah, this is getting weird.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know you'd rejoined. I thought you disconnected.
So what are you playing then, Ben?
Well, you're going to hate us because I'm playing Ark. I'm not.
You're playing Ark, and you.
I'm playing no Resident Evils. Sorry. I've been playing about 6 games because I'm ADHD. So a lot of Rage I've been playing because I never played. I'm really excited rather for Rage 2. So I've started playing Rage. I've actually started playing some Fallout 4 as well because I never finished that. I'm also playing Far Cry 3 and 5.
So Ben's playing all the games.
Every time I go on, I'm like, I'll finish that one, and then I'm like, I'll just play some of this. I still need to finish Gears 4. I've got about 1 chapter left on Gears 4 to finish because I just never finished that story either. And I only started replaying it because Gears 5 was announced, and I'm like, oh god, this is the only Gears game I haven't finished. I'll have to finish 4.
Yeah, I have to finish The Last of Us because I know I finished that, and the second one's coming out next
stream
year.
The Last of Us, like after you've done after you fail your knife only challenge in an episode. Download The Last of Us.
I'm gonna nail that shit, man. I'm gonna nail it.
You cannot nail it. It's a knife only challenge.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough. Yeah. I was also thinking about doing a speed run as well, but that looks really, really hard. Like, there's people who've completed the game in an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm like, I've just got past the first boss, and it's like 7 hours.
You're like a golden Labrador on YouTube. Like, you think everything's a good idea, so someone's like, you should do a speed run, and then you're like, yeah, I should do that, and then you realize you can't.
Yeah. Oh no, nobody's told us to do that. I'm just like, I want to play more Resident Evil, and how can I do that? Well, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to...
should co-op as well, other than Resident Evil 5, is Resident Evil Revelations 2, because that's co-op.
Yeah, but who wants to be the girl with a crowbar or the girl with the torch?
I'll be the girl with the torch, and I'll just shine it in your face the whole game. That can be we'll call it the torch in the face challenge.
Yeah. Well, that's bound to get with some more subscribers. The torch in the face challenge. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm going to play all things Resident Evil between now and the release of Resident Evil 2. So if that's what you want to do, we'll definitely do that.
I'm up for that.
Yeah, brilliant.
I'm up for causing you misery on stream.
And in real life.
And in real life. I'm with the guys in the chat. Like.
Yeah, Exacto wants to see us cry.
We all want to see him cry, Exacto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, if there's no more games to be played, because I know, Ben, you're playing all the games.
Well, I haven't got all day.
Yeah,
it's been me listing off every game I own and haven't finished.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, but yeah, I've got no other games. I'm busy playing Resident Evil 4 again. I'm going to finish the Ada campaign. So the next time I stream, it'll be that. So if you have got Twitter, for the 4 people who are watching, excluding you, ma'am, because I know you don't know how to work the Twitters. The link for Twitter is there.
She's still wearing that knitted t-shirt.
Yeah, she's wearing the knitted t-shirt. You played all the games in the world, Ben. That's what Exacto's just said to you. He's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I just get to the start screen and then I uninstall it.
Yeah.
I will add that I'm also playing Knights of the Old Republic again.
Oh, yeah, man.
Nice.
Because
Paul just got too excited.
I did.
I'm going to play this again.
Yeah, it's a good game. Yeah, Exacto saying Twitter is whack. I do agree. I don't really understand Twitter.
Well, just if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and then you'll definitely get,
Yeah, he has.
If you click the little bell, I'm sure you get notifications so that you can suffer his knife-only streams. I mean, enjoy his knife-only streams while he cries.
Yeah, he's saying Knights of what? He's never heard of it. Knights of the Old Republic. It's a Star Wars game.
Star Wars, yeah.
It's like old. It's very
old RPG.
Yeah, but it's good.
A modified Dungeons and Dragons system, surprisingly.
Is it?
Yeah, it's all D20s and stuff, so there's all like roles behind the scenes and all that shit.
Apparently Twitter's only for beef and SoundCloud links. Okay. Well, we've got a SoundCloud as well, I'm sure, somewhere.
There's one somewhere with old episodes.
Oh, there is, yeah, old podcast episodes. Yeah, but on that note, we'll leave it there, and we'll see you in the next one. So if you haven't already, leave a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the live play of me getting very angry when I do my knife-only gameplay on Resident Evil 4, and I'll finish the story with Ada's campaign the next time I'm on. But thank you for all coming, and thank you for leaving a like. We'll see you in the next one.
Okay,
bye. See you next one.
We're still here. This is awkward. I didn't press stop broadcast. I'm going to press it now, though. Bye.